Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Radio Geonosis, where we talk about Star Wars from a certain point of view. I'm Angie.
I'm David. Got it right this time.
Today, we are here at NME Props in Temple City, California, to interview owner Marcus Napuri with his intern, John Rodriguez.
Hey.
Say hello, guys.
Hello, guys.
Hello.
But before we do that, David is going to tell us the hot happenings in Star Wars this week. David?
Oh, okay. The first one is on April 17th, they announced the new Star Wars book. It's going to be Han Solo and Lando Calrissian themed.
Yeah.
All we know about it is they said it's going to take place in multiple time frames, with one being in between the new Solo film and A New Hope, and the other being after Return of the Jedi, but I'm assuming before Episode 7. So that's that news, I guess, if you like books.
So the the Han Solo books from the past are just going to be considered EU and not canon. Is that correct?
Yeah, they're no longer canon. Yeah. So this is
the new canon.
New canon.
Yes.
Yeah. New things going on.
I think with a new movie, that's going to be great. You know, it's going to kind of tie in.
Oh, yeah. I think they're definitely going to take a lot of, inspiration from the old books, but, still change it to where we don't know what's going to happen since a lot of us probably read them.
I think they're going to pick and choose what they want.
Yeah.
Kind of
Right.
what Ryan Johnson did with...
They'll probably, take stuff like, oh, Han Solo was royalty, and they'll incorporate that in, but they won't do, his exact A, B, C, D, this is how he became Han Solo sort of thing. So that's going to be interesting. I'm looking forward to reading that, because I love the Han Solo trilogy books. Those are great. I loved reading those. Those are a really good read.
But those are out now.
Those ones, oh yeah, those are out. Those are gone.
So
They're still a good read if you haven't read them, but they're out.
Well, maybe they'll just pick and choose as to what they're going to keep, what they're not going to keep, or
Same thing with the new trilogy movies, because there was all that was fleshed out in almost probably 100 books. What they did after Return of the Jedi, and
Did
can't.
read those?
I didn't read all of them, but I'm aware that they kind of just wiped it and did what they wanted.
It's a really good story.
But I think they brought them back. At first, they were considered legend, and now they're EU. So it's kind of, they don't want to lose that 40-year-old fan base.
Yeah, they
I'm going to
should.
keep that.
Of course.
And some of the books were really great, so I don't, why get rid of them? And if you're going to bring back anything from the Old Republic, those books are going to count. If they decide, knock on wood.
They might use it for source material.
Yeah.
There's
definitely.
plenty of material to choose from in there.
That's what I think. I think a lot of the stuff they're going to do is we'll bring Darth Bane back, which they kind of did in Clone Wars. Mm-hmm. So he's technically canon, but they'll say he had a really interesting story that everybody knows through those books, but we're just going to alter it slightly. So you're still getting a new story, but you're getting the character you love. I think that's what they're going to do with almost everything now.
Right, kind of keep a little base of what it started off as, and then kind of
But
jump
give
from
it their
there.
own flavor, right?
Right.
Because you don't want people to know the end of the story before you get there. Because half the audience is going to go in not reading or knowing about this old canon, and they're going to be wowed, and the other half is going to come in knowing about it.
I think they're called the millennials.
The other half will go in knowing about it, and they'll either be ecstatic that they did it, or more than likely they'll be like, that's what it was like in the books, but that's not the way I wanted to see it done, and then they'll just be angry. So it's you might as well just, take the old flavor and make it something new.
Well, you're pulling in a lot of kids that have not been part of Star Wars the last 40 years. You're pulling in a lot of people. You see people walking around with Star Wars shirts and stuff now where you would have never seen that.
Right. And I feel like that's the thing a lot of people are confusing. It was never our Star Wars to begin with. It's a generational thing.
Oh, yeah.
Right,
So,
right. I agree with that.
A lot of people are upset nowadays about the new movies not being the way they envisioned it, and it's they're trying to attract new audiences. This is for the kids now.
Right.
Same as when they did the prequels. They're
Since I'm a kid, that fits it.
Well,
They
already have. You can either accept it or be upset, and there's no reason to be upset. You can, it's
But I think that's why they're kind of giving it, let's say, a new look.
Or they miss the nostalgia,
like
that
remodeling
they got
an
from,
old house.
Sure, no, but they miss the nostalgia they got from the original trilogy.
Right.
So all of a sudden, they're expecting that feeling to come back, and they don't get it, and they're upset. And it's
which is funny because you can never recreate nostalgia.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're not going to get that because it's like seeing it for the first time, and they've already read the books for 40 years. They already know a lot of these stories,
Or
so
they
you
already have their own
idea in the head.
Yeah.
their own opinion of what they think should be next or how it's going to progress. And when they see it's something a huge twist, they go up in arms, and it's hey.
That's why I think The Last Jedi kind of took a hit from a lot of fans, was because not necessarily all the old stuff, but we had 2 years and so many questions in between the last two movies.
Right.
And you go on YouTube, you type in Star Wars and theory, millions of videos, and everybody has their own theory about every character, and everybody's theory is right. So it's like we oversaturated the market with where Star Wars is going to go in terms of, history and these characters, and nobody was right.
Yeah.
And now everybody's upset because nobody. That's what I think is going on. It's like, it's like a give and take. You gotta understand that theory and all that stuff has its place, but that's exactly what it is. It's theory, and when the movies come out or the new books or the games or whatever, you just have to enjoy it.
It's not up to us. It's up to us whether we enjoy it or not, but the story progressing the way you want it to is not up to us.
Oh, no,
No,
exactly.
We have no control over it. We can either enjoy it or not enjoy it, and why not enjoy it?
Well, I enjoy it. I mean, it's like the first 3 movies. It's like Phantom Menace and the Clone Wars. Everyone's getting all upset about it, but I still enjoyed them.
Yeah, when they first came out, a lot
They
of
got a
people
lot
were
of
upset about those movies.
Yeah.
When they came out, I made the decision, I'm just going to enjoy whatever they give me and stop being so critical.
Because it's Star Wars, no matter
exactly.
what.
I love Star Wars.
Or be less critical of the acting and follow more the story, because that's the point. Like, we didn't know what happened
Right.
before. All of a sudden, we're getting all this information. Luke's dad, who trained him, who trained his,
Yeah.
Right.
so on and so forth. And that's what we need to take from it. Not, I didn't like the way they directed it, or so-and-so character was not,
To me, it's a look
Yeah.
of grand time. It's the old Republic. It's something that we had not seen before. So I think I loved them. I still do. I still watch them all the time. So
Oh, yeah.
who doesn't love a good pod race?
Episode 2 and Episode 3, outside of Return of the Jedi and Empire, I've watched those movies more times than I can count, because
Yep.
Same
here.
They're great.
too.
You just have to, if you don't like them, you just have to find what's great about them. Like, I think what really sold me over for Attack of the Clones was Jango Fett, even though they offed him, which I am upset about. But more than that, it was like the first time we saw grand battle happening,
yeah.
armies
Yeah.
running at each other. And
Yep.
it was, I don't know, whether you like the film or not, that sequence alone was just like, that's what we've always envisioned for Star Wars, but we never got. It was always 3 or 4 people running down a hallway with 5 people chasing them,
right.
or it was just dogfights in space. Like, you never got the grand battles, so I love that.
I loved it too. Okay, so today we are here at NME Props to interview Marcus and his intern, John, like I said earlier. And our show is going to be about prop making. So
right.
we have some questions for you. Can you tell us when your love, both of you guys, can you tell us when your love for Star Wars started? And what gave you, Marcus, the idea to start NME Prop? And what gave you, John, the idea to become that intern? So who wants to go first?
I'll go first. So my love for Star Wars definitely started as a kid. I mean, I grew up with it. I think I was like 2 years old when I saw the first movie on TV, and it was just amazing.
Not the movie theater, TV.
TV, yeah. I had to watch it on TV. But yeah, so your love for Star Wars starts when you first see the first movie.
Definitely.
Yeah, it's like it was immediate, and it was something that just blew my mind as a kid. It was just so ahead of its time, and the whole drama and everything was just. I got drawn into it. The art, oh my gosh, I'm an artist. I've been an artist since I was a kid, and starting NME Props was something that I think began also as a child. I mean, ever since I was a kid, I was always making costumes. I was at that time I was big into knights, and I made myself knight helmets and costumes, and ever since I was since I was a little kid, I was always making stuff out of paper, out of whatever I could get my hands on.
So you wanted to turn this into a business?
It's not that I wanted to turn it into a business. It just happened, The way NME Props started was I got invited to a costume party, and I had no idea the world of costuming even existed, really. I'd seen...
It's a wonderful world.
Yeah, it is. It's huge, yeah. Like, I was aware of Comic-Con and those things, But I got invited to a Halloween party, and it was a bunch of costumers that were going 501st members.
Oh wow!
And so I went, and I brought a helmet that I made for myself for Halloween. It was just made out of cardboard and Bondo, and I brought it, and then everybody there was just so amazed at it, and they were like, "Oh my gosh, where'd you get this?" And like, "Oh, I made it," and then you could sell these, and then I was like, "Really? So that started it, and I started looking into making costume helmets, and
It's almost like Lord of the Rings. So it begins.
so it began. Yeah.
Sorry, that's the wrong universe.
And it was just a hobby, It was fun, and they just started selling like crazy. So I was like, all right, let me just do this, and that was that.
And they're pretty cool looking. We're going to have pictures up on our Facebook page so you can take a look at it. So John, tell us.
It's very similar to Marcus's story. I was very young when I got into it. I think either my mom or dad brought home a VHS tape of A New Hope, and I don't think it said A New Hope. I think it just said Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, because I don't think the
it
older
was,
ones.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think they renamed it later, but
I still have my VH.
Yeah.
So do I.
3 set.
I have 2 sets.
I have the 3 set now and it was $100. I remember when we were little, the 3 VHS tapes for the first original trilogy was $100, and I was like, we're never gonna be able to buy that because I was like 7 or 8. And,
Yeah. Did you
And,
have the 20th anniversary or just the regular ones?
It's the THX remastered.
Oh, like in the gold box.
It's
That's
a
what I
little
have.
package, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's
Oh,
the
that
one
one.
I
That was
still
old.
have.
Okay.
That I used to watch after I got it. But and I remember the first lightsaber I ever made was with a mag light.
Yep.
I got a little mag light, and I had some blue film paper that I put right over the thing, so it would just illuminate blue. And there was so much dust in my room, I think that the lights would be off, and you could see the dust flow through the blue, and it would look like a blade. And that's what I would kind of play with in my room. And I had a neighbor that lived.
Good old flashlight.
Yeah.
It was the best. It was the best.
Yeah.
And I actually rebought the same flashlight that I had as a kid just to remember that was like, that was a lightsaber once too.
That was your first
Yes.
lightsaber.
Yeah, it was. And the thing that got me into the prop making, or at least interested, was meeting Marcus and becoming parts of the clubs. But when I came to his shop and saw the amazing things he makes and how he makes it and how it's a wow factor each time for me, because you do, it's like you create something from nothing. It's like it's liquid and dust and you put it in a piece of
in a
fiberglass, and all this, and you turn it for a few minutes and you
like
wait
ice
it, and all of a
cream.
sudden you have this a wearable thing, after trimming it, you have a wearable prop that you can paint and customize in it, and it blows my mind every time. I've done, I don't know, 12 or 13 helmets already, and each pull is like, wow.
Yeah.
And he's like, whoa,
It's magic.
yeah, it's amazing. It's
Yeah.
amazing, and especially when you do something you're not very familiar with for the first time, and you do it well, and it turns out, it gives you, I don't know, it's
So no
really
Jedi
cool.
mind tricks to make this.
No, not at all. Just a couple ingredients and some patience, and I'm still learning. Obviously, I'm an intern, so I don't know everything, but it's amazing. It's a lot of fun.
I know for like everybody, including me, when I started doing, especially casting and all that work, when you first started, was your first full for like when you started pulling the mold to get it out? Was it like, were you both like excited and terrified? Like, did I break it? Did I mess up? Is there air bubbles?
Well,
Like,
that's the thing. Well, I didn't know what could go wrong yet. It's like, here are the steps. This is what you mix. This is how you do it. Go. And you do it, and all of a sudden, you pull one out, and like, wow, it's solid, great. And you start removing everything, and also, someone that's new doesn't know the tolerances of these things. Like, you don't know if something's gonna rip, or
Right.
so
Yeah.
you're
Super
doing everything
careful.
very
It's not paper
delicately.
mache.
Yeah. But you pull the first helmet out, and it's exactly what you expected. It's amazing, and you're just like, wow. Like, okay, there's one. Let's see the other one, and then do the same thing, and it's wow. Okay, great. And then it's just like your smile gets bigger and bigger. It's really cool. I don't know. It's a really.
And I've seen a lot of these helmets out, and the one thing I love about that is I was at we were at a show for some kids, and when a girl had your helmet, and you signed it on the inside, and she was so proud of the fact that it was number 5.
Yeah.
Because you sign all your helmets,
I
and,
sign 'em
and
and
I was
number 'em, yep.
blown away. I did not know you did that until
Yeah.
she showed me.
Well, when I first started, I didn't sign them, but what I found was when I would go to a convention, a lot of the mercs or the Mando mercs that had my helmets would search me out and want my autograph. So ever since that, I'm like, well, I should just sign them all and number them. So that's when I started, yeah.
I thought it was fantastic. It shows real authenticity.
Right.
to the product,
I've
and
got
I
a couple
love that.
too. I have a couple that are like number 3, and I'm like, okay, that's going in the shelf.
But see, it shows real
Yeah.
authenticity, and that you took the time
Yeah.
to do this for each and everyone who buys one of your helmets.
Right.
At
They're all
NME
cataloged.
Props.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would have never thought to do that for any of the props I made in the past. But like, it's funny because when I build computers for people, when I build custom systems, I sign them and I
Yeah,
number them,
yeah.
so like they know it's where it's coming from. And if somebody, not like it ever happens because I'm not like a big builder or anything, but like if somebody ever tried to resell it or tried to
Exactly.
sell something under my name,
And
if
that's
that ever
another
happened.
thing. My helmets keep a really good resale value. I've noticed, like, once they want to upgrade and buy a new helmet, they'll sell their old one and they'll sell quickly. And
Yes.
yeah, people want them,
Because it's not
especially with the signature in it.
exactly,
Yeah,
and
right.
you can see the difference in quality. All different things have you can either see like the ones that look like they come from the costume store, or
Right.
something that looks like it's quality,
Yeah, it
and
looks
your
like-
items are quality.
I put a lot of time into them. Yeah. Yeah, my process is. Let me tell you a little bit about my process.
Yeah, we'd like
Yeah.
to hear that.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm sure everyone listening would love to hear it too.
Yeah, for your listeners who aren't familiar with NME Props, what I do is I make mostly costume helmets for the Mercs, but I also do jetpacks
And Mercs, you mean by
the Mandalorian Merc Costume Club. They're amazing, wonderful people. I love them, and
They're essentially like the Mandalorian of the 501st. Like they're
Yeah,
up
yeah.
to that. They're like that scale of level.
It's that
Right.
sect. Yeah,
Yeah.
So each club has their own, like, bad guys, good guys, and the Mandalorians.
Yeah.
You know. So
yeah. So the Mandalorians.
I think it's always been like that, even in the Star Wars world.
right. Pretty much.
What attracted me to make helmets for the Mercs was that they create their own characters. So for me, as an artist growing up, like I love making replicas, but I much would rather design my own stuff. So with the Mercs Costume Club, that gave me that freedom to design my own helmets. So my first designed helmet that I did was the Assassin, and that's still one of the top selling helmets that I have. And it was just my idea of what Boba Fett would look like in the future. So I was doing like my idea of a future design of his helmet, and it just started from there. But yeah, at NME Props, I design. My favorite thing to do is to design my own helmets. My process, I'll take a lump of clay. Well, actually, it starts with a sketch, of course, and then I'll sculpt that in clay. And then with the clay, I'll do a waste mold, which is once the clay is sculpted as nice as I can get it. You can't get it perfect in clay because it's soft. I'll do a waste mold, and from that mold, I can cast one helmet. And then that casting that I get out of that, I'll sand it and I'll get all the lines perfect and straight. I call that mastering. So I master that, and that becomes the master. So once that's done, then I do what's called the master mold, which is what we get all the production helmets out of.
So how
Right,
long
but-
do your molds usually last for your master molds? Like how many pulls can you get?
I get a lot out of them because I treat them very well, and I design my own molds, so I know what helps them last longer. So I get about 100 pulls per mold.
Oh, that's good.
Wow.
That's great.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
really good, actually.
Yeah, it is really good. But you have to take care of them, and over time. I've been doing this for about 7 years now,
Wow.
and I'm the rotocast guy. If you ever have any questions about rotocasting, I'm the guy to come to. I built my own rotocast machine.
Wow.
Actually, I
amazing.
built and designed this one you see behind me. It's the only one in existence. It's a 3-chamber, so I can rotocast 3 helmets at once.
Oh wow.
Which,
And rotocast, you mean it's turning and turning
It
while
turns-
you're
It's like
while
double
it's
axis.
molding.
yeah. it
So
turns
everything
on.
is getting mixed up and properly and then the way you want it.
Right. So yeah, the mold basically sits in the center, and it's 2-axis, X and Y, so it'll rotate, both directions at the same time. And what that does is it pools the liquid at the bottom, which is urethane plastic. It'll pull, and once it rotates, that pool at the bottom will eventually coat the whole interior of your mold.
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think that's kind of cool because you're getting 100 of them, but it's not like as if you're getting something that's made in a huge
Right.
conveyor belt kind of situation where it's just like go and you're going to see like flaws. from what I can see, it is top notch. It is
Thanks.
really, really beautiful, and I've always loved that.
Yeah, I put a lot of time into my sculpting and the mastering of the helmet. So, and you can see that in my castings. My castings come out beautiful. You know, I sand everything to. I think I sand my masters. I sand to 800 grit, so it's a nice smooth finish on them. They're practically ready for paint when you get them. When you buy the hero version. I also sell raw casts where you can do all the cleanup work yourself. It's a little bit better price for people that, you know, need that.
Right.
But then if you want a hero version ready for paint, I do that too.
But they're not heavy either. They're
No,
not.
they weigh about 3
felt,
pounds.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've felt the helmets. They're not heavy at all. They're comfortable to wear. And I mean, if you wanted to put any kind of padding on the inside, you have that option.
Yeah.
So it's giving you the option of what you want to do with the helmet.
That's another reason why I decided to intern here or seek him out or, you know, be in this situation because of the quality of what he produces. I've bought other helmets from other people and I've never seen any, and this is speaking not because I'm his intern, but because I'm a fan of his work.
Right.
It's the best quality helmets I've ever seen in this costuming community.
I
that we're
agree.
yeah.
I totally agree.
quality, detail, attention to detail, the way he does things, the way he installs things, everything is done in a way that I haven't seen done in anywhere else.
No, I
Yeah.
mean, just
Right.
looking at some of the castings over there, like just the greeblies on the side of the helmet, like they're not super intricate, but just how perfect
Right.
they are, and you know, in terms of unison with each other, is like, I mean, that's for some people they could work hours and hours and hours on a sculpt and not get it that good.
And for us as costuming groups, we have stringent rules that we got to follow because they want it movie accurate.
Right. Yeah.
And I mean, a lot of times people get angry because their costumes are not accepted.
Right. And they
But
spent
be-
all that money.
right?
And,
But because they have to be movie accurate,
Right.
and so I would think that this would be a smart buy, regardless of how much you pay. It's a smart buy.
yeah.
So that's what I was curious about too. Is so when people order a helmet from you, irregardless of what style, like you said, you had like the finished masters, and then you also have like essentially the bare bones where you cut the flashing out, you sand it yourself if we need a little more sanding.
Yeah, the
So
raw cast.
are all the are all the master helmets or most of them you sell? Do you paint them beforehand or
I don't
you
do
paint
any
none?
painting.
You don't do any of them?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. They all come ready to paint. But, well,
Okay.
Because the Mercs Club is mostly, like I said, they make their own characters.
It's
So
super
they're-
custom.
Yeah, super custom. So they're gonna choose their own colors. They're gonna choose, and maybe I was thinking about offering paint ups in the future, but right now I don't do it. Yeah.
I think people, as far as I've seen from the Mercs, they will paint specifically
Yeah.
because the one girl who had the number 5 helmet, hers was purple.
Yeah, everybody
and
has
it was
custom.
beautiful.
Yeah, no
and the
two
things
are
that
alike,
she,
right?
yes,
It's insane.
And I think that's really cool that they're given the option.
Yeah.
You can paint and do the way you want
But
to.
that's why they come to him because you can have you can have 5 people with the same helmet, but they all do different
different.
paint jobs, and you
And they
can't
won't
tell
look
it's
the
the same
same.
helmet.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
They all look incredible. Like wow,
And they
that's
modify them too, which is something
Yeah.
that I really
yeah.
enjoy seeing. Is when somebody takes my helmet and they add a visor, or they'll add the pilot's
Right.
guard on the front,
or
the
even any of
blaster shield.
the bejewelly, kind
yeah,
of things
someone has,
on
like,
the
a Nordic
helmet.
theme, and they have
Yeah.
like a dragon,
Yeah.
embellished on the top.
Right.
Or some people change the shape of the visor to make it more custom. And
For them,
I've
yes.
seen that done.
Electronics you can put in them, lights,
Yeah.
fans in it. Yeah, there's
Yeah,
there's
'cause
lots
I've
of things
seen
you can do.
a-
Voice boxes, voice control. Yeah.
I've seen tons of different ones, and I like I said, I love them. So
So what would you say is your best-selling helmet? Is like the standard Mandalorian helmet, or
The best-selling helmet right now, I would have to say. Oh, sorry. It's hard to say.
because I see you have like a lot of the bare, like just the standard Boba Fett, Jango Fett, Mandalorian, that type helmet in here.
That's not the best-selling one.
That's not the best-selling
It's not.
one?
I mean,
hence the clones.
it's probably third. It's probably like the third highest selling. The best selling right now is the Stalker, hands down.
Oh,
Stalker.
really?
My Stalker. It's one of my own original designs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool then. That's like always nice, especially when everybody wants to be Boba Fett at some point in their
It's a
lives and
compliment
have
when,
your.
when the one he
Yeah,
did custom is selling
the-
more than the
yeah,
actual
exactly.
one in the movie.
Yeah,
right?
I have people that will just buy whatever I make because they want one for their shelf.
Oh, yeah.
yeah. So
That's kind of like what
That's
I am. I'm
kinda-
like, just if you have something, give it to me because I love to display it. You know?
I have 3 of his helmets.
Yeah.
But you can.
And 3 more on the
One,
way.
we will say, at the Christmas party became the wild helmet.
Yeah. Well, that one got. There's a story behind that now too. That it got traded for something else that's in the works that hasn't been done yet.
Wow, but
it's
that
happening.
was definitely. I love our Christmas parties because we're part of the Saber Guild. The Christmas
Yeah.
party and that helmet.
Yeah, if you want a chance to get a free helmet, you got to join Saber Guild.
Yeah.
Because at the Christmas party, I'm known to give away
Yes,
helmets.
and it comes in different boxes. And
Yeah,
it comes
I try to make it hard for people to guess.
Yes, because they don't. But once that helmet's out, and we do the white bantha, it is the most.
It's a war.
Yeah, it becomes a war.
Everyone wants the helmet.
Yes.
Doesn't matter what else anyone brought. They might have brought really cool things. It doesn't matter. Where's
people
the
start
helmet?
pistol
Yes,
whipping
and
each
that's
other.
the third
Yeah.
Christmas. It's the third
Oh,
Christmas
but-
party we've gone
he's
to.
pretty
man.
clever about
Actually,
it, too.
my helmet wasn't the biggest gift at the last Christmas party. I don't know if you remember, but it was the book with Mark Hamill's signature in it.
Yeah,
And
that you gave.
somebody
Yeah.
gave away. Yeah.
Yes, that one was fun because
That was
we were
fun.
at the
you
movie
stole my
premiere.
spotlight.
Yeah.
We were at the movie premiere, and I pretty much knocked Anthony over. Get that signature! Get that signature! I'm pushing him, telling him, get the signature from Mark. It had to be in that book.
And all that just to give it away at our Christmas
Yes,
party.
I
That was
wanted to
awesome.
give it away
That
at the
was so
Christmas
good.
party.
That's really nice.
But I didn't want to tell anybody that I was doing that because then I didn't want it to become the
A
hot.
sought after.
Yes,
And,
yes.
and Vince got it, who costumes as.
And I couldn't even
Luke.
believe he got that. What I did was I bought 2 books weighing the same. And the one was signed, the other one wasn't. But they were not the same book. Put them in the same box. And I put a smiley face on the one that was the box that had Mark
Had a
Hamill's
signature.
Yes.
So you knew.
And so he turned around and grabbed that box, but nobody
fate.
knew
It's
I
just
did
fate.
that. And it was fate.
was fate.
He cried.
Yeah,
He cried. I
costumes
could
as
not
Luke.
believe that. So I thought that was really wonderful.
Yeah.
See, that's the wonderful part of Star Wars is
Yeah.
that it's a huge group, a family. Even though we're not all related, we all have something in common.
We have the same
And-
passion in common.
Right. It's the love of Star Wars.
So now I'm just reminded because I want to get my Mark Hamill autograph. That's the one I want. The only other one I have is Billy D. Williams from Star Wars, I think. But outside of that, my most cherished one is Leonard Nimoy. Now that he passed away, but
yeah.
I want Mark.
Was it on a
Hamill's.
napkin?
No. It unfortunately was not. I would have loved to have it on a napkin just for
Oh
that
my
joke.
gosh. That's
have
part
his
of the Big
DNA.
Bang Theory.
Okay.
He had his DNA.
So all these are urethane.
Yeah.
Yeah. So have
The
you
helmets are-
thought about like if you start expanding to other things? Have you thought about doing like silicone to like stunt props or anything like that? Or
I was thinking of doing some rubber casts, but at the time, right now, this is what I'm focusing on. But yeah, I think.
And seeing your list, wow.
Yeah, I have a huge to-do list. So yeah, so I
someone
don't get around to doing
ordered
much.
one today. About like what's the wait time?
The wait time right now is probably like 4 to 6 weeks.
Oh, that's
Oh,
not
that's not
bad at
bad.
all. I would have
No.
get like an operation this size with what the 2 of you. I would have guessed like 4
He
to
has
6
him
months.
working
Right.
10
So-
hours.
That's really good turnover.
It is a good turnover. It is, and I'm glad you say that because like even the well, that's the thing. Is like
I mean, hell,
will
people
always
are so
complain.
But
people are
4
so
to 6
anxious that they want their helmet now. Like, oh, where's my helmet?
I mean,
Where's
if
my
you think
helmet?
about it,
It's
But
like,
I
you
think a
just
lot of
ordered it.
times people think that you just have them on the shelf, but that's the beauty of it.
No.
You don't.
Don't. No, I make it.
helmets get
It's
made.
made to order. Yeah.
Yeah.
Once you order it, I make it. That's how
Yeah,
it works.
and
yeah.
I would prefer it that way. I'd prefer
Yeah,
to
yeah.
get something made to
You don't
order
want
because
something
then
that's
you
been
know
sitting around, yeah.
it was made,
It was made for
me.
you, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
Rather than this is
That,
just
it makes
something
it
off
that
the
much
shelf.
more special,
Yeah.
right?
Exactly.
You didn't just pull one off the shelf, exactly. Yeah.
This was made and
No,
made
I-
with love.
I know. I
Definitely
have
made with
friends
love.
who bought like. I think it's like they're on a 3-year wait list now from a Novos
Yep.
for like a first order thing
Yep.
for pre-orders still.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even helmets, just bare helmets.
Yeah.
So I mean, and that's an actual company with a huge manufacturing process,
Mm-hmm.
and the fact that you're turning these out in like a month, that's outstanding. Especially when you think about all the work you have to do, where you like a mold breaks, you have to go now.
Make
You
a
have
new
to
mold, yeah.
go back into making new. Like you have to deal with all of that, and you're doing it.
And I'm not just cranking the helmet out and sending it to you. I crank it out and then I sand everything. Like if you're
There's a lot of
ordering the
work.
Hero Cast, I clean everything up, and it's ready
That's
for
the
paint
that's the most time consuming part, at least in my experience, is finishing, and not even talking about painting or weathering, just actually getting it to the perfect form where it can be painted, weathered, and added on. That's like the hardest, not the hardest, but the most time consuming part.
But I think people are happy when they see that because there's not all of that to do. Now, like you said, some people want to do it themselves. They want to sand it and everything themselves, and that that's still good. But to be able to get that helmet and just say, you know what, this is what I'm going to paint, this is what I'm going to do, and I think it's worth the time.
I'm that person. I would rather get it ready to paint than to have to do it myself. Just because, not because I'm lazy, but just because the fun part is to paint it. And
Right.
I'd rather have Marcus do the hard part and the tedious part, and then I can.
And that's what I focus on. Like, I want to give people what they see on my website.
Right.
Like what you see is what you get. Like when you order it, because like I've ordered props and they put up pictures and then you get it and it's like,
you're like,
what
is this?
That is totally not what was the picture,
But which sells the most? The one that they buy, they paint, they file and everything themselves, or the hero?
Okay, so the raw cast is what you're talking about,
Yes.
which I just started doing not too long ago, and I totally thought that was going to be like, okay, quick sells, and I'll get to crank them out and just push them out, and because I know that's what people want, quick turnaround, and and it's a lower price point, so it's easier for people to get. But I was surprised that when I put that out, people are still mostly buying HeroCast, which is my cleaned up version. So. HeroCast and visor.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I'd rather get a hero. I'd rather pay a little more and get perfection than have to be uncertain if I'm not as
I'll tell you from even years of model making and prop work on my part. It's anybody can finish a raw casting, but the amount of time it takes, the dedication, there is a huge curve of experience for there. So I can understand, like, especially if you don't build your own stuff but you're an excellent painter and you just want to get something to do, I could totally understand, because if you've never done it before, you're talking like even months sometimes, depending on how much free time you have just to finish a prop to its perfect form.
And just to paint is for some people,
for something that to clean up a helmet takes me like 15 minutes would take somebody like 2 weeks,
because they don't know what they're doing.
Well, and then their time, they got to get off work and then then go work on their project for a little bit and come back and forth. So
I mean, I've seen people overfinish props that don't know what they're doing too with sanding, and they'll like it'll become uneven. Sand off details exactly.
Right. So it's better.
But I like how you do the raw casting though. Yeah. Because that's something like I would buy that just to have a project to do, because I love finishing props.
Yeah, and and for people on a budget, it works well.
But you're also making, not only are you making the helmet or having to work on the helmet, you have to work on the costume as well. So people want to get that helmet because everything else is ready to rock.
It expedites the process.
Right.
If you have a set of armor, a jumpsuit, accessories,
gauntlets,
weapons, and now they have to clean up and cut the helmet out too. It's just one more thing to add to the list. If you eliminate that, you pay a little more, you get the master to do it. It's perfect. It's one less thing off your list, and you.
And then you go in for approval, and I mean, and at that point, it's the weight too, for the approval. But at least you cut out the middleman, and you've got everything ready to rock.
Yeah, totally.
So like something cool I would like to do, only because I love like educational stuff in any format, would be to bring a camera here and film you actually teaching people how to finish a raw cast. That would be like to get awesome.
Videos out. I mean, I even filmed
that means we're coming back.
Yeah. That sounds good to me. Because like I've tried to videotape and put out some videos on how to do how to clean up, how to do a visor install, but I just don't have time to edit it and then publish it and put it out. Like,
pointing at me for being the editor.
Yes, he is our editor-in-chief.
Video editing takes so much time.
Oh, but especially if you're not used to it. It's
it's not something I do every day.
It's a science. If you're, it is. It really, it's easy. I say anybody can do it, but once again, like with a lot of things, it's a steep learning curve. But once you get it, it's like you finishing a raw cast.
Right. It's just bam, bam, bam.
You're done.
Yeah.
But all of this is the love of Star Wars. To be able to put costumes together and do it's the love of Star Wars to get out there in that costume.
Yeah.
And once you get out there, the kids are just so excited to see you. It's worth every minute that you spent sanding, painting, sewing, and everything else.
Yeah, it's definitely the reward.
Yes.
Yeah, to get out there and be your own character. You become like a hero to the kids and other friends.
Oh, yeah.
And
when
for
they
that
see you,
day,
you are that character.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I live vicariously through those kids because I would have loved to be a
Right?
kid and see my heroes
Yeah.
and the villains, interact.
Come alive,
not only just be
yes.
there, but interact with me and talk to me, and they, have Luke come up or Vader or whoever.
Yeah.
And
I
in
would've-
character, too.
I would
Yes.
have died if I had a chance to do it. So, in a way, I'm living out my childhood fantasies while giving back as well.
That's
And-
right.
and
We're all
it's
Peter
amazing.
Pans here.
Heck yeah.
So what
Never
do you
grown
two
up.
cosplay as then?
What's that?
What do you two cosplay as for Star Wars? And if you do it,
I'm a Jedi. I do
Jedi?
it because John and I, we run a group, part of Saber Guild. We do the LA chapter of that called Skywalker Temple. I'm the local director, and John is
I'm the assistant
assistant local director. Yeah, so I cosplay as a Jedi, and
you
who
haven't
better
done
to
any
have you-
Mandalorian cosplays.
No, I haven't. I haven't had the time.
Have you-
have you heard of the Builder's Curse?
You would think.
That is true. Yeah.
That's
I'm
like the
so
dentist. The
busy.
kids have bad teeth.
No, I'm
You would
so
think
busy
that's the first thing you
making
would've
everybody
done,
else's costumes that I don't have time to put one together.
No, I had the same thing, but for me it was I was not for anybody else, but I was constantly working on multiple projects that I was falling behind
Yep.
because I would just come up with an idea or I'd go, I want that, and there I am building a new lightsaber or whatever. So I get that completely.
Yeah.
And John,
100%.
your characters, tell us.
I have a few. Well,
John's-
not anymore. I had a few. Yeah, I started out with a generic Sith, and then I did a Jedi that's portrayed on the Rebels cartoon show called Kanan Jarrus.
Yeah.
And then I also did a Kylo Ren costume for a while, and I used to have long hair. Right now it's short, kind of short, but it used to be long, so I could pull off these other characters. Now I'm doing a short-haired version of Kanan, so that's why I cut my hair. And I'm also
That's
doing,
dedication right there.
It
Hey,
is.
whatever. You're not gonna look like the guy if you don't.
That's
do
right. That's
the-
totally getting into character.
So-
Totally.
That's how it is. But I just finished a pilot, first order TIE pilot that I do with the pilot first.
That'd be great.
Yeah, it's really awesome actually.
A gun is needed. I did see that picture. A gun is
There
needed.
is a gun. The guy just forgot to send it to me, but yeah, it's coming too. But yeah, I do a few things, but mostly lightsaber related costumes.
Yeah, that's great.
Yes, it
Yeah.
takes you all the way back to the
It
flashlight.
takes me back to the mag light with the blue film paper in it.
But
Which is
I'll
great.
get my Mando together.
You should.
Yes!
Sooner or later.
Now you think Marcus is thinking,
I have some really good ideas floating
yes.
around. So.
It's time to draw it out and put it on the fridge. They say when you put it on the fridge,
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yes.
That's
I would
a good
actually be
idea.
really interested to see what actual theme you go with for a Mandalorian armor, like in color palette too.
Right.
Because I think yours would probably be extremely unique. That would be like
That's what I'm-
one of the
yeah.
future ones. Like if somebody told me they were building
And that's-
armor, yours would be the
And
top.
that's
I'd
part of
wanna
the
see.
reason why I don't have a Mando costume is because
expectations.
the expectations
Like, all right,
are
let's see
so
what you got.
high.
Yeah, let's see what you
that
can
I
make for
can't
yourself.
just whip something out. I gotta make this the best costume.
That's
you,
right, because it's
you
got to
know?
rock the runway.
Exactly. Exactly. So
You don't want to go to a con and go, oh, that's the guy for NME Props. Well, look at
Like,
his.
look at his
like,
costume.
oh my god, his paint job looks rough.
That's
see,
so
all-
basic.
But all of us are wowed, and you're like, I see every imperfection.
Yeah.
See, that's the thing too. Is like whenever I built something, everybody would be like, "Oh, that's so great," and I'm like, "Dude, that's like 50% good."
Yeah,
Like, do you get that too?
Yeah, because you're your own worst judge. You're like, oh my gosh, this, but all of us would love it. I just know you'd make a great one.
I'm gonna do it.
Yes.
You
Gonna
should.
happen.
Have to.
Yes.
Gonna-
So
it's
now
gonna-
that's on the to-do list on the where? On the fridge.
Yeah, I'll put it on the fridge.
So, what kind of color scheme do you think you'd go with for a Mandalorian?
Well, I think I wanna do like some chrome, but
there you go.
mix with earth tones and
Somehow I can see a
kind of
blue.
like chrome, distressed, dirty, a little bit of the kind of like it's hard to describe. It's so hard to describe.
But it's in there. You got it.
yeah.
So, is that something you like to do? Because one of my favorite parts in the whole process of prop making or painting is weathering.
Mm-hmm.
I love weathering. Is that something you love to do too? Like, do you
Yeah.
love making it look dirty and used? Because it's funny because it's such a simple process that anybody can do to make anything look used.
Yeah.
It's almost like Western. You kind of get that, the Western cowboy guys. They always look greedy, and they always looked, it looked like it was worn.
And that's the whole thing with Mandalorians. It's all about battle damage, battle damage, and like the
because
process,
that's what they were, weren't they? Like the bad guys of the galaxy out doing missions.
Well, they're mercenaries, so they're for hire. If you got the money, they're your army.
Right.
That's how they are. But yeah, classic Boba Fett. His helmet, his armor's got scratches, battle dents. His paint job is so intricate that it's layer after layer after layer to get the right battle damage look.
I mean, I had a friend do Boba Fett, and it was like a 5-year process, of which 3 years were the paint job. On his free time, because it is that hardcore.
Yeah,
maybe that's why they picked him to be the clone guy.
Yeah, I think
that everybody was going to clone after
underneath
because of the way
underneath the green on Boba's helmet is, I think, 3 other colors.
So you have
yellow, black, silver,
and you have to mask off like each paint chip. You have to you do the silver, and then you put some masking on. Like the liquid mask, and then you do another color, an underneath color like the red. And then you do some more mask, and then you do the green on top of that, and then you start peeling off and seeing those layers of chipped paint underneath it.
It would be cool to be able to get into the mindset of the guy who made Boba Fett's costume.
Yeah,
the original guy, and what he was thinking about how we put these colors together. What was in his mind as far as having Boba Fett be this iconic character, even though in the movies he spent very little time. There was very little camera time in the
3 minutes, 2 lines.
Exactly, just like Darth Maul.
But that character is so the helmet and the paint job and everything was just so.
Everyone was like, "Wow!"
There's a whole costume club just for that one
because he was unique too. Yeah. There was only one of those guys.
Yeah.
Compared to a million stormtroopers.
Right. But as far as
Vader.
in the first movie, but in the second movie, even in Clone Wars, you do see they go to Mandalorian and they find out there's a whole group of these guys.
There's a lot of them. Right?
Yes.
They're their own race.
Mandalore. I'm sorry.
Mandalore.
No, I'm glad they didn't go with the first prototype of his outfit, which was all
The
white.
white one, yeah.
The proto-Fett.
It looks cool.
Well,
I have a Black Series figure of him, like a collector's one.
Yeah.
But
with a Super Trooper.
Yeah.
He was actually being designed
as like a super stormtrooper. Yeah.
That was
like
an
a stormtrooper commando.
Right.
He had a lightsaber too. Well, the original drawings, you'll see the lightsaber.
Oh yeah, all the Ralph McQuarrie stuff is insane.
Yeah.
Oh, I have a bunch of his like prints from the original. It's like 20 or 30 of them. They're like prints. They're not like his, like just like reprints of the original set that Lucas took when he was selling Star Wars. Wow. I wish I had them here because I would totally just hang them all up in my room. They're amazing.
I think it's really crazy that his toy is considered the holy grail of all Star Wars toys.
The Boba Fett.
The Boba Fett
with the launching rocket.
With the launching rocket, and that was the toy that you had to mail.
Yeah,
you had to do
a mailer.
you had to do the little certificate and mail it away to get that toy.
Yep.
It was the only way.
Yeah, exactly. But they didn't even release that because they were afraid kids were going to choke on.
On the rocket.
On the rocket,
Yeah.
but that is the
There's a
holy
choke
grail toy. And this guy spent 3 minutes on screen.
Yeah.
Right. 2 lines, 3 minutes.
And it brought you to where you are right now.
Yeah,
At
amazing.
NME
Right,
Props.
you owe those 3 minutes.
Yeah, you owe him the 3 minutes.
That'd be a cool guy to meet because I know he's at a lot of cons. Is Jeremy Bullock.
Jeremy Bullock.
And he's the guy who played Boba Fett. He didn't do the voice,
Right.
But yeah, he would be great because he does everything. He's always at cons.
And Daniel Logan too, the young Boba
Oh, yeah,
Fett. He's
yeah.
always around.
I follow him on Facebook, and he's like,
He's,
oh man,
he was
he's
so
into
cool. When did
Mandalorian
we
merch
saw
now.
him at
NerdBotCon.
yeah,
And he was very sweet, very nice guy.
He's got a full costume now.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
he
I saw, he
does.
just
We
posted
saw
pictures
that.
of it, like completely finished.
We
a
were
few
there
weeks
when
ago.
he was dressed in it, and that was
great.
cool.
Yeah.
Really
I think he even went to the Mandalorian merch to help get it done.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, a couple guys are helping him put together.
Which is awesome. I think they should really cast him as like a young, not kid, but a young Boba Fett,
right.
because
It
he's
needs to
starting to
happen.
look exactly like Tamara Morrison.
It needs to happen.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
They should.
I don't know if it's going to happen.
I don't know.
It needs to, though.
Yeah.
I mean, they were working
You
on a
never
Boba Fett
know,
movie, and then they stopped.
Right.
Disney is coming out with, I think they're spanning out. They realize that, I think with Rogue One, that, hey, there's something to this. We can step outside the box.
Well, yeah.
And
like you were saying before, all that new Han Solo stuff that's coming out. There's novels, comic books. And it's not just Han. It's like Star Wars Adventures of Han and Chewie, and there's a Lando, a standalone Lando comic. There's so much, and that's just off one movie. We've had these characters for 30 years.
Yeah.
Right.
All of a sudden, it's rejuvenated and it's a little fresh, and there's a million other outlets they can use. So yeah, it's a huge revenue.
And they can go anywhere. You know, it's like a vein, different veins. They can go anywhere with any of the characters. They can go back, which I'm hoping for Old Republic, fingers crossed. Right. But you know, and any of the like Chewie and Han and Lando Calrissian, they could just go anywhere with that.
Right.
And Star Wars Disney has opened the door with Rogue One. I think that's what really got it started, to say, hey, this movie did really great. Now let's go see where we can go.
But it's not only that, it's also connecting gaps that are sort of missing between movies.
I
You're
agree.
Like, well, what happened in these 20 years? Or what happened in these 30 years? All of a sudden, they're sprinkling things in. Like, oh, that happened right before A New Hope. Or that happened also before A New Hope, but before that. So you're kind of just, everything is little by little getting filled in. And I kind of like that.
I like that.
I do too.
But I think they're focusing, and I think it's actually a marketing ploy because of how popular the original trilogy is, nostalgia-wise. I wish they would kind of get away from it, which I think is, of course, what Rian Johnson's going to do, because his is like nothing you've ever seen before.
They're oversaturating us with the same stuff, but it's all stuff that we'd like to know about.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, it's the same characters I've known for 40 years. What more can they tell us about them? It's like, oh, wait, there is more
But there's
stuff,
a lot
There's
they
plenty
can
of
tell
stuff,
us.
right.
Yeah, because there's missing gaps, like you said, of things that we don't know what happened.
Right. How did Han meet, Chewie? How, he was going to be a pilot. What happened? Outside of the EU stuff there's books about.
Right.
What are they going to write? What's Lucasfilm doing with it now?
But it's like you said earlier, this is a different crowd. This is kids.
Right.
Kids that have never seen the movies, have never read the old books, and haven't seen the movies
fresh.
it's all fresh to them, because some of the kids haven't seen the movies as much as we have. They haven't been through 40 years of that. It's all fresh to them, so they're hungry for more.
Yeah.
And I mean,
I'm anxious for new content too. New
I am
characters,
too. I
every
agree.
day.
I want to see new stuff, like all the new stuff in the last movies that came out. I was just like, wow, this is awesome. This is awesome. I like that. New designs, new droids, new
Ships,
Right.
characters,
Yeah.
And new
Awesome.
guards. I think the guard costumes were
Praetorians,
awesome.
yeah.
Oh my
So
God, I
cool.
Oh, those
loved
are
it.
pretty cool.
And we were at the movie premiere, and when they
I
marched
didn't like
past
those
that,
costumes.
I did though. I did.
didn't like
I
them.
like
They're so
all
different. It
the.
was
Yeah,
so
they
unique.
are
They were-
different.
they were-
I liked them
It
because they
looked
were unique.
futuristic
That's
and
why I
it-
liked
you
them.
It just wasn't my design
They
aesthetic.
were a little.
Well,
They were way more sci-fi than science fantasy, which was kind of weird to see. But I just liked how it was such a unique aesthetic compared to the Imperial Guards of the original
But
trilogy.
with still, giving a little nod to them because they're all the same color and it's kind
They
of...
kind of reminded me of something from the old Buck Rogers movies. Or
Yeah,
something
exactly.
Like
Oh, I
that.
didn't
it was
think of that.
It was totally
They
different.
reminded
to
me
yeah.
of that and accordions.
Right.
I mean, like,
Yeah,
I would
it's all
never
the-
buy a Praetorian Guard costume because I'm not that into it.
like a samurai.
But, I mean, they looked
Yeah.
neat.
armor.
I don't know
And-
if you've
and-
ever seen the Jetsons. They did that band called the Way Outs, and they had this
Yes.
thing that's like
I know what
accordions.
you're talking about.
Everyone's gonna have to Google that. They were called the Way Outs, and when they walked, they looked like accordions, but that it was almost the same kind of idea.
Yeah.
What was your favorite prop that you saw from Last Jedi?
From The Last Jedi. Favorite prop?
I got a couple. Luke's compass,
Yes.
which I really liked, and I also liked his necklace, kyber crystal pendant.
Oh, yeah, that was great, too.
Which we assume is Vader's.
I would assume as Vader's.
I didn't even see that. I'm gonna have to go back and
Yeah,
watch
he has
that.
a kyber crystal around his neck, and it's a little red crystal.
Wow.
And theory is that it's Vader from Vader's saber.
It's kind of weird. For me, it's not what they were wearing. It was the tree and the books. I
Oh, those were
loved
great
that.
props.
I loved it.
I wish I was good enough with that kind of material to make those books. Because those would be just great to have as display pieces.
Even if they're not real books, you could just make the 4 or 5
yeah.
of them, and just it'd be the
Yeah,
backings
facade.
of them.
Yeah.
Right.
I
You
thought
could
that
leave
was
it on the
awesome.
shelf, right.
I'm not much for the milk in the bottle. That kind of
Yeah.
No.
I loved
that bothered me quite a bit. But I did like all the cleaning ladies.
Oh,
They
yeah,
were
the caretakers. I thought those were great, especially when, Rey is destroying the village.
Yeah,
and
she's-
His gun went off.
I loved Kylo Ren's Jedi lightsaber. How it was a beautiful, refined version of his crap lightsaber that he jerry-rigged?
Yeah, so it's the same saber, and what I think happened is, because new canon is, the blade cannot be red unless you bleed the crystal.
Yeah.
So what I think happened is he tried to bleed his crystal,
And it
which
cracked.
was fine, and he cracked it, and he shattered it, and the only way to use the
It's like
same
it's
crystal
exhaust.
is to vent out the sides,
I
right?
remember when that trailer first dropped and he's in the woods and he's powering on the lightsaber. Everybody was like, crossguard, it's help his hand. And I'm like,
It's not a crap.
do you guys... Okay, first off, it doesn't look nothing like a crossguard because it has this... It literally has exhaust flare. And my other
Yeah.
side of it was like, there's literally 1.5 inches of these emitters on both sides. That's
Right.
not going to
This
protect...
guy has a bad temper.
not
You're
gonna do
still
much.
going to lose your hand, you know?
It's still
Yeah.
going to cut right through it, and you and everything else.
That was one of the things where I'm like, all hipster, like, I called that because... But I loved how everybody was going, oh, it's a crossguard to protect your hand. I'm like, oh,
No,
God.
it had a
No.
function because it wasn't perfect. But the actual, the one from The Last Jedi, the one where it's his Jedi saber,
It was.
that thing is beautiful.
Oh, I love it.
It wasn't
There's some
perfect
companies
because he
making them.
didn't finish the class.
He didn't finish training, right? He left, and he tried to do something he shouldn't have, and he messed it up, and he fixed it the way he
So
could.
those
Right,
damn
right.
Skywalker boys just constantly leaving
Yeah,
straight.
messing stuff
They
up.
leave the classroom before it's finished. Then come back and try to fix that and make even worse a mess.
Yeah.
I didn't like the Imperial officer outfits from First Order, though, with the weird ass hats.
Oh yeah,
Like-
yeah.
I didn't dig those. I like the outfit, everything except those
I was gonna
hats.
say I like the outfit, but the hat I could do with that.
No, yeah, that was.
Well, maybe they were just trying. Remember, it's now New Order, so they're trying to do something different. They were
Right.
stepping outside of that because you no longer had Sidious and Vader controlling everything. This was somebody
Yeah.
else.
But in
So-
Lucas's own words, I remember back when he started working on Episode 1 in the making of, he's like, you got to make it just weird enough, but not too weird where people
Right.
think it's crazy.
Or turned off.
Exactly.
I think they're starting to dip a little bit into the too weird for
Yeah.
but I mean that's almost every director, like it's gonna be, oh, I like this over that.
Right.
And they're also
It's
trying
a
to push
matter
the
of personal
boundaries.
taste.
You know, they're
Right.
trying to. What can I get away with? What without losing the entire fan base? You know,
Oh yeah,
what risks
easy.
can I take that will pay off, and some might not.
But also stand out. That,
right,
that
that,
this
that,
is,
that the risk was taken and it was
Right.
positive, or it
Like I'd
wasn't,
say easily
and-
Captain
but
Phasma.
that not
Like,
that
that's
this is
one
the
that-
Empire, but that it's
Another-
the
that's
New
a Boba
Order,
Fett of the
so
new
that it
trilogy.
stands out differently.
I wish they do something. I guarantee she's gonna be alive in the next one.
I hope so.
Because-
That's a bummer. They didn't show her dying; they showed her falling. So
Yeah,
Right.
I mean,
That's what happened to Darth Maul.
when you think
And
about it,
He didn't die.
and
He didn't
stuck around for
die.
a
He's
while,
like the
yeah.
guy from Pineapple Express. He just keeps coming back.
Right.
Just keeps coming back.
I mean, when you think about it, Kathleen Kennedy was going, oh yeah, we did her wrong. She's going to be integral to the story. In the next one, she's going to have so much screen time. And it's like,
Nope.
Well, the
3
only thing,
minutes.
The only thing she
Yeah.
served for was for Finn to finally say what he was, and
Yeah.
she called him scum, and he's rebel scum. Like that's when his
Right.
identity became affirmative. This is what he is, and that's why Rose was important, and that's why Phasma was wasted. But I feel like that her role was also important for him to develop. And that
yeah.
was the pivotal thing. Like
I would have liked
No
to have
fan is-
seen them explain why is it that when he got touched on the helmet with the blood, why did he all of a sudden see things differently? I would have liked to have seen that.
I think just PTSD, watching your
Yeah.
friend get
Yeah,
capped
your
in front
friend
of
just
you.
died.
realizing
Yeah,
that it might
became
not be
more-
the right thing to do.
Right.
And then I would say that, plus, they just, casually executed a whole village of
village of
people.
Yeah,
people,
innocent
right.
people,
It's
yeah,
like-
women and children.
Yeah, but everybody
old
else
elderly.
was still doing it. But why is it that when he gets touched and the blood is on his face,
Because it's his friend.
right, but he kind of looks like, now I can see things differently, but why? I would like for that to be explained because it really doesn't, because he completely turns around. Now, we know in Clone Wars that they had a chip in their head and a couple of the guys took them out
Right.
because they
The
knew
inhibitor
that
chip.
it was in them. But now, what is it that
Well,
when
stormtroopers
they
aren't clones.
No,
Right,
stormtroopers
right.
aren't clones.
But it'd be interesting
But
if
when
they
they're
have an
taken when they're
inhibitor chip, that'd be
babies,
interesting.
almost
I don't
like the
think
Jedi.
they-
No, I don't.
It's
I
more
think
of
it's just
a
brainwashing,
conditioning,
yeah.
right?
It's conditioning.
Because they take him as children.
Yeah,
Yeah, they kidnap
kidnap
him.
But you still
children.
have a choice. You can still make a choice. So why is it that?
I think he realizes at that point that he can make a choice, but his identity isn't sealed yet. You don't know what he is. He's a defector, but he's kind of helping, but he's trying to get away. Like he's trying to escape each time.
But why aren't there others doing that? See, there
Well,
are
I think
not
if
others.
that comes back to the brainwashing, it's when you're brainwashed, that's what you know.
Right.
I mean, there's no other way out of it. He was able to see through that and realize, because when you're brainwashed, people could tell you, oh, you don't have a choice, and you go, oh, yeah, you're right, I don't
You're
have
right,
a
I
choice.
don't, right.
But he was able to go, But
Maybe-
I do have a choice. The repercussions are extreme.
But his friend did that to him because maybe his friend, when he was dying, realized, you know what, this is all wrong. And maybe that's why he touched him. And I'd like to know what the friendship was between these two guys.
Yeah.
Well,
You know, I would like for them to
It was four of them.
explore
They were
the
a
traitor
squad.
guy was a part
He
of his
was one
squad.
of his squad. Yeah. So
Right.
I don't remember now, but there was a list of them. It was Nines, and there was 2 other guys that were with Finn as well. So one guy died in the opening scene, and the guy that yelled traitor was the other guy that was in his group. And there was one more that I can't remember now.
I believe the last one was he got cut from the film was supposed to be Tom Hardy's cameo that recognizes him when he's on the ship and he's supposed to go, hey, how you doing, Finn? You're an officer now, you know.
Right.
So I think like that, but I wish they would have put that in the film. I think that would have been kind of cool.
You'll see that in the director's cut.
Right.
Hopefully, at least deleted scenes.
Yes, that we talked about that last time was some of the scenes that should have been in the movies that give you a little bit more of an explanation.
Well, the Shock T death in the prequel
Grievous
trilogy,
killed her.
Yeah, all of a sudden she's just
would've-
dead and we don't know because they cut that out.
Right.
But,
I would have liked to have seen that too because then you have a little bit more. It explains a little bit more.
yeah, there's no closure.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
I need that.
Yeah.
Need
What's
closure.
going on?
I need closure in some of these movies.
It's a relationship for me.
See, he has the same psycho knowledge I have about all the stuff that nobody else knows about. Doesn't watch it all.
I retain
I love
obscure
him.
information. Yeah, it's like I'll remember things that are from long ago, but I don't remember what I had to eat yesterday.
But if it's Star Wars related, you're going to remember
usually
that.
Sticks. Yeah, it usually sticks.
Your wife's like, when is our anniversary? May 25th.
Yeah, May 4th. No, it's September 24th.
Hey, he got it.
You're not in trouble. You're not in trouble when we air this. Well, I want to thank everybody for listening today, and thank you, Marcus and John from NME Props. Please visit their site. You're going to love what you see.
It's not enemy, it's NMEprops.com.
So please visit. And thank you, everyone, for joining us on Radio Geonosis.
Yay.